And he's Mr. Scott Petrak from the Chronicle-Telegram, brownzone.com. Good morning, Scott.
Hey, Scotty.
What's going on, fellas?
All right,
So
we don't have to pay for that,
riddle
too.
me this one.
Okay.
The defense couldn't have been much better. The offensive game plan, I thought, was terrific because it actually helped the defense. Ball control offense, keep that Bengal offense off the field. That helped. Browns didn't score a lot of points, but they had 6 plays that killed them. I want to be optimistic, except there were 6 plays that killed them.
Yeah.
How should we feel today?
Yeah, that's so interesting, Jeff, because you can look at it either way, and it's a matter of perspective. My overriding thought is it was a game they should have won, a game they needed to win, and they just shot themselves in the foot at the most inopportune times, and they're going to regret this loss, and it's going to, it's hard to get them back. We know what the next 5 games look like. They're really difficult. I thought this was going to be the easiest one. I thought they could win this one and would win this one. So, yeah, there are plenty of positives, and I don't think you can just gloss over those. But this is the NFL. It's a big boy league. You got to win games that are there for you. And if your defense holds Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Chase Brown to 17 points and 141 yards and minus 18 yards in the fourth quarter, you got to go win the game.
Man, I just need to moan a little, but I'm still bummed.
Sigh.
Yeah, you got the sigh on this one because I'm just sitting here. The problem I have is that I think Flacco played good enough to win. I thought, he showed that he can lead this team to victory no matter what his age is, so we can stop talking about his age. The problem is that it's not his age clock, it's the clock itself. Like, you hit the nail on the head. They needed to win yesterday because that was a game they should have won. At what point, if they continue to play like this with a quarterback who can get them in position to win, but they're losing, and you see the standings don't care, right? And once those standings keep saying 0 and something, you have to see what's on the bench, and then it's like, okay, like that clock is, I don't know how many games Joe Flacco has on that clock, which is what he kind of felt last year in Indy too.
Yeah, I think there's a reality to that. Andy, I think we're premature to talk about that.
Okay.
I don't think that clock starts for at least another 5 or 6 weeks. I don't think it's before they're done playing Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh. It might not be before the bye week, and who knows what happens, right? Maybe they go in and shock Baltimore next week. It's 1-1, and you're feeling better about this team. But I do get what you're saying. And if you're looking at it long term, yes. But I don't think, and who knows, maybe Dylan Gabriel would have played just as well as Joe Flacco did. But Joe Flacco gave them the best chance to win the game. He gave them a great chance to win the game. They should have won the game. The kicker makes kicks. If the guys don't drop good Joe Flacco passes, they win this game. So, I just don't know if I want one of the earliest takeaways to be, what about Joe Flacco? He played great, and I thought he managed the game really well. He didn't put the ball in harm's way. I know he threw 2 interceptions, but the one was, we saw both of them go off the receiver's hands, right? Yep. Mm-hmm. And the one is low over the middle, and he steps up. It wasn't a great throw, but it's also not an interception throw, and then it turns into an interception. So I thought Joe was great, and I think the rest of the locker room looks at Joe, and as long as we're still early in the season, it's, hey, this is the guy that can win games, whether it's versus Joe Burrow or, next week versus Lamar Jackson. Look at all the quarterbacks are going to play. I think they go, hey, Joe's the guy that gives us a chance.
There were a lot of teams around the NFL that had trouble running the ball yesterday. The Browns were certainly one of them. Are you concerned about that?
Yeah. They ran it terribly. I would say this, that I think that's something that can get better from week 1 to week 2, especially with this veteran line group. Joe Batonio talked about misassignments, and, I think, okay, well, if you have 4 30-year-olds, maybe that shouldn't be happening week 1. They also lost Jack Conklin early, so they had Cornelius Lucas have to step in, and he hasn't spent a ton of time with that first unit. He was injured for part of the end of training camp. So that could be part of it. I think they'll get some of those things cleaned up. And then you look at it, okay, well, they're getting Quinshon Judkins back possibly as early as next week. That will help. I think when he's completely up to speed, that will help a lot. I don't know how much it's going to help in Baltimore if he plays, but I think it will help. I thought Dylan Sampson played really hard and ran really hard, but he didn't have a lot of room to run, and you could see the size limitations for him. He's obviously better in space than he is trying to, move the pile. So, yeah, I mean, it's concerning, especially since they put so much time into, hey, we're going to run it this year, and we're going to be better running it, and we're going to commit to it. And I thought they did commit to it. Like you talked about the ball control earlier, it just wasn't nearly good enough. But I think week 2 helps, and then I do think Junkins is going to make a difference at some point, and maybe even next week.
Does it make a statement if you cut Andre Szmyt today? I don't know. I don't think Kevin was leaning that way yesterday. Your thoughts on? I'm sure the fans want him gone today, but I don't know if you can coach a team like that, and you better hope that it doesn't happen again, right?
Well, I don't know about making a statement. I just think if you're, and I'm speaking, if I were in Coach Kevin Stefanski's shoes, I would want a kicker that I had some faith in, and it's hard to do that when the kid in his first NFL game misses 2 in the second half, and they cost you a game. Now, Stefanski might be more patient than I am, and I know that Szmyt built up some kind of collateral with this organization through the offseason and in preseason. I understand that, but that's just a tough position to not have any confidence in. So I fully expect them to bring kickers in to at least try out, and I would not be stunned at all if we heard they make a kicker switch. That's the nature of the position. If you don't have a guy that's entrenched and has a long, proven track record, games like yesterday get kickers fired or cut, and I could certainly see that happening here.
I thought it was interesting when they went for it early in the fourth quarter. There was the 3rd and 5 where Harold dropped the pass, and then 4th and 5 from the 39. And Kevin went for it. Jerry Jeudy dropped that pass. And I mentioned to Andy earlier, I kind of get it. Kevin's always been aggressive in those situations. But he did have a 56-yard field goal try. And he passed it up. And I wonder, did he pass it up because he wanted to be aggressive or because he didn't have confidence in Szmyt? And then Szmyt had a chance, go kick a 56-yarder, which is really pushing his range. But I wonder if that stuck in his head like, oh, man, the coach doesn't trust me in this situation? I wonder.
That's interesting. We just don't have like a resume with Szmyt where I would go, okay, I feel comfortable with him kicking from 56 or 57. So when they went for it, I didn't think twice about it. I was doing the math, okay, are they going to kick? What are they going to do here? That always felt to me like a go situation. But I think you feel differently or you think differently about it if you're Pittsburgh with Boswell, right? That's okay. Do we give up the 3 points? But you just don't know, so it doesn't feel so much as you're giving up 3 points as, hey, let's extend this, let's give us, a better chance at a touchdown or closer field goal. So I get what you're saying, Jeff, but I thought that was a right call for Stefanski to go for it there. And then he calls a great play, and Jeudy drops the ball.
Yep, just as Fana did. So
I think one of the problems you get is when you start walking back into the facility today, and you're like, and if you've been around for a while, you're like, oh, here we go again. Like, I don't know how do they avoid that? They just need to get to Sunday and put in a good performance. How do you avoid here we go again? Again, 16 points, right? Same as what they had last year. Whether it's a kicker's fault or not, they've got to be able to get to 21 to win games.
Yeah, there's no doubt. The mental aspect of it is interesting. And, there are different kind of takes on that in the locker room after the game yesterday, and the joke who talked about being ticked off, and that's how they had to approach it, and we're not going to lose again. We're not going to lose like that because we're so mad that we lost. Cedric Tillman talked about being sick of losing. So I do think there is that feeling. And then, Flacco, when he was talking about the kicker, was a lot of, hey, you get negative thoughts when you're in this league. And when you feel like you let your team down, you feel everybody's looking at you. He goes, you got to fight through those thoughts. And it's got to be, hey, if we go into Baltimore and win in Baltimore, we're going to be celebrating in their locker room, and none of this is going to matter. We're not going to be thinking about this. Right. So you do have to flip that switch, and you have to get yourself in a place that says, yeah, forget about that game, and we're moving forward, and take the positives, right? Like we talked about at the beginning. I think you can look at this, take a step back, and whether your offense or defense, say, hey, our defense played great against one of the best offenses in the league. They're going to give us a chance to win every week. And if we do this, this, and this, which were right in front of us, we can win this game. And, we could get better because it's week 1 and we have a bunch of rookies and they're only going to get better, right? Like, I think there are plenty of things to pull from and you can use that, but you do have to fight the here we go again. And I mean, it's probably a bigger issue for fans with here we go again than inside that locker room. But I'm not saying that's not something that they have to address.
Brownzone.com. Go read all of Scott's work. You can read great commentary by Jim Ingram as well. Terrific coverage on your website, Scott. Well done.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Scotty.
Scott Petrak, Chronicle Telegram, brownzone.com, joining us there on the Fan Hotline.